We're live.
We're good to go,
Okay.
Jeremy?
Yes, everything is going.
Good evening. This is PB Jantz. I would like to officially begin our meeting at 4:33 p.m. and we will begin with a roll call, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Katie Lopez. We'll begin with the roll call for the commissioners. First, Commissioner PB Jantz,
Present.
Commissioner Sarah Benton,
Present.
Commissioner Barbara Brimhall. Okay, I think Barbara may not be with us quite yet. Commissioner Antonio Calderon, Commissioner Judy Hutch,
Present.
Commissioner Suke Neifel,
Present.
Commissioner Annette Reichman,
Here.
Commissioner Katie Cienko,
Here.
Commissioner Richard Vanover,
Here.
Commissioner Susan Webster,
Here.
Commissioner Fred Williams, and Commissioner Tamara Collinsworth.
Katie, this is Commissioner Brimhall. I am here. I just can't get my speakers to work.
Okay, great, Commissioner Brimhall, thank you. Okay, and let's try one more time for Commissioner Tamara Collinsworth. Okay, we'll note the agenda for that. Moving on to staff present, ACDHH staff. Sherry Collins.
Here.
Carmen Green.
Here.
Curtis Humphreys.
Here.
Betty McIntyre. Betty McIntyre, I do believe I saw Betty, so we can count her present. Emmett Hassan.
Here.
Victoria Vaughn.
Here.
And we also have Jeremy McCown assisting with tech, and my name is Katie Lopez. And that's it for roll call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katie. Appreciate that. Moving on to agenda item number 2, approval of the minutes. Any discussion or motions? I see Benton and Commissioner Reichman who would like to go. This is Commissioner Reichman. I move that we approve the minutes as written. Commissioner Benton, I second that. Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Reichman to approve the minutes and a second from Calderon and Benton. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 3, Chair's report. Don't really have much to report today. Of course, we're continuing with the theme of coronavirus and its impact, something that you are already aware of. You have seen the work from Executive Director Commissioner Sherry Collins and her work that she's done in the community, the challenges and the barriers that come with the use of masks and other communication challenges that have come up during the pandemic. We really appreciate your continued work and your work with ACDHH, staff, your involvement. So I want to congratulate and commend ACDHH for their work. Secondly, I would like to remind the community that we do have a hard of hearing representative and a deaf representative position available, one of each on the commission. And we would like to fill those positions pretty soon. Any community members who are interested, please contact me or Executive Director Collins, and we can tell you more about the process and what the application process entails. A reminder, because we are using Zoom today, we are not able to take public comments at this time. If you are interested in making a comment, you can contact me after today's meeting, or if you would prefer, you can request a topic to be put on the next meeting's agenda. That concludes my remarks for this board meeting, for my report. Moving on to agenda item number 4, the Executive Director's update.
Good evening, everyone. Well, this is our new norm of board meeting. Everything looks like Brady Bunch. And I need to use my reading glasses to magnify every one of you. So I see some nods, but it's been 5 months. Maybe some people have been working from home in 6 months, but about 5 months for us working from home. And I think that things are starting to settle and get used to the new normal. How long is that going to last? I don't know. But I can tell you that since we've been working from home, and I've been hearing that other people saying the same thing, that we have been busier, much busier. And for some reason, working from home, we are busier than ever. I mean, my 20+ years, and I work longer hours because I'm already here, at home working. So so that's really interesting. See that trend, and I'm hearing that many people are saying the same thing. So a lot has happened since May, and I'm gonna highlight some of the things that it was in the report. In the report has everything that we can think of in the report that you have, but I wanted to pick some highlights, especially for the public. Hopefully they're watching this meeting to share some of the things that have been happening since our last meeting in May. First of all, I know many of you are familiar with Katie Lopez, who has been working with me for a while, and she was a temp for a while, and then Heidi Lovato has left her position, so we filled her position with Katie. So Katie is an employee of our agency. So wanted to formally welcome her, all of you to welcome her. She has been wonderful, was an easy transition. So I'm really thrilled to have Katie with us. So she is our permanent employee. So congratulations, Katie. We're happy to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Katie, the changes that since I have Katie, she is now a support to the entire executive team. Not just an assistant to me, but she supports Carmen, Betty, and Curtis. So we have more support because we're, especially for us working from home and I 9-hour work. So Katie is really busy supporting the entire executive team. So that's been a change since she's been on board. So all is going well, and she's still here. So that's positive. Okay, moving on. Now I wanted to highlight some of the reports. Since we can't meet with the community, and we want to stay connected with the community, we have hosted several focus group meetings. For example, in Yuma, we were supposed to go to Yuma for our last May board meeting. Since that meeting was canceled and changed it to online, we were able to schedule a Zoom meeting to talk with the community so that they don't have to wait until the pandemic goes away. We want to maintain our contact, engage with the community. Same thing for deaf, blind, hard of hearing. We had separate focus group meeting online, and we intend to continue to do that as long as we're still working from home to stay engaged with the community. A lot of training has happened, offered remotely from the staff. Offers several different training, as you will notice in our report. Healthcare, I have it written down somewhere. Yeah, community health workers, public safety, healthcare curriculum. We have offered several training, and so that's becoming popular. I think because it's easy for people to join, they don't have to commute, and they're already home. So we're seeing an increase of online training. Employment campaign have we been working on, which is Betty's project. We're going to launch the campaign next week, August 27th. So this is going to be a huge event, not because of COVID. We had already planned this for a year, and then this comes up. So everything's going to be online, and we're really excited to launch the campaign. And all that information is in your report as well. So if you have any other questions, feel free when I finish my report. And my entire executive team is here to answer your questions. As you know, we have an agreement, partnership with the Arizona Center of Disability Law to provide legal consultation. And one of the things that we work with, they work with us, is to develop a video in ASL with captions on their healthcare right, know their right, because that is a huge topic. And also effective communication. What is considered effective communication when it comes to healthcare? And another thing is the Arizona Post, that's the police academy training group. Carmen and her team has been working with the Arizona Post to develop a training script. And agreement between our office and AC Post is that they will have a focused training on deaf and hard of hearing if they encounter law issue. So the script, the details, is being finalized before they begin the production. So this huge training for the law enforcement. So we're really excited about that. Unemployment, UI, with COVID-19, and some people have lost jobs or reduced their hours with different scenarios. We were concerned about communication access for those who are deaf and hard of hearing need to apply for unemployment. We've had some situation individuals struggling to apply because the phone line was not easy or online. And our executive team has been involved working with the unemployment team to make sure that their information and communication access is accessible. And Betty can clarify that if you're interested in hearing more details about that. this is a huge project that I'm very proud of the executive team, which it goes to Betty and Becca, is their effort and partnership with the Arizona Citizen Clean Election in developing an ASL voter primary education guide, first in the United States to do this. That is about 173 candidates of videos that was produced. This is huge. And so I really, really wanted to commend Betty and her team for the work. There was a lot involved in preparing that. So now the next is the big general election. And more information will be coming out of that as we get, well, she's working on that right now to make sure there's no confusion about mailing the early ballot with the situation on the post office. We want to make sure that the community receives accurate information and not have any concern to participate in the voting process. Also, I mentioned our last board meeting, Sonia, who is now with us as a temp staff, she's been focusing on family engagement, how we can do better to provide information and resources to the family. Just a lot of behind the scenes working that she's been doing research and providing input, suggestions for our office, a website, translate information in Spanish. So we have materials that are accessible for the Spanish speaking families and all that. So there's a lot of things are happening behind the scenes, which is in the report. The clear math, whew, that was a big project. I think I've not slept much for about 2 months. And I'm rested now. we got 30,000 clear math, and I believe they're pretty much gone. And so the next 30,000 clear math is been ordered through the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. So we're waiting to get an update from them when we should expect those orders to arrive. We really appreciate Jack Steller, who's one of the board supervisors who made this happen. So really appreciate his support to the community. And also you will see all of the effort with the clear math and media. I've been on a lot of interviews when we launched the clear math, and that's all that listed in the report as well. So we'll probably see more possible media covers once we start the employment campaign, which we launch next week. So hopefully we'll have some coverage on TV or print in newspaper, things like that. The public policy report, not much really going on, but Betty has been working more on behind the scenes, talking with different people and preparing for the upcoming legislative session. So I anticipate that she'll have more to discuss with the board at the next board meeting. Also, I wanted to mention, I can't remember from the last May meeting, but I want to remind everyone, we do have a COVID-19 resource page on our website. So if anyone is asking about general information, let them know they can come to our website. We try to put as much information in there when we have access to those information. And also, as past recipient of the Athena for 2019, I have been involved with the 2020 selection process And it's been fun being involved behind the scheme. So we will be having a panel, not me, but the Athena will have a panel of the three of us who were the past recipients on September 1st. So you can see that information will be posted on my professional social media page. If you follow Facebook or Instagram, but it's under Sherry Collins. Just thought I'd share that with you. So those is just a summary of a highlight of many things that we have done since May. And so before I move on to the budget, are there any questions for me or the executive team on the report, the community activities and things that we have done for the past couple of months?
This is Annette Reichman. I have a question. Going back to your work with the unemployment office, can you elaborate a little bit more about what you are doing with the unemployment office and how that is helping the deaf and hard of hearing to be able to apply and actually receive unemployment insurance?
Actually, who's going to answer that? Betty or Carmen? Betty, thank you.
I can start off and let Carmen tag in where you see on your side. So what I'm getting feedback.
You got your phone on, Betty?
Nope.
Coming from Tamara.
It's coming from Collinsworth.
Commissioner Collinsworth, if you could mute your phone or your audio, excuse me, in the lower left corner. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is this better? Okay, a lot better. So we have been working with the Department of Economic Security's Community Engagement Division, specifically on their unemployment. It started off with what we've been working with them is on getting access to the phone tree questions, so we can share that with our staff, our specialists, so they can better prepare consumers on what those questions are going to be asked. So if they're using Relay, they know what questions are what information they need to have in preparation for moving through that system. But more recently, that's what we started off with, is getting into the system. The second thing that we have been working on most recently, just as of this week, is having conversations around what is happening with not receiving any callbacks or return emails. There is, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, that DES unemployment specifically has received approximately 70 to 120,000 calls a day. And they only have 900 workers to respond to those emails and to those calls. So I've been reaching out to figure out what the plan is, to talk about lack of communication and what that looks like for individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing and related to accessibility issues. We've also are working with all of DES on providing training. So one of the things that we're pushing and promoting is a consistent training. And I'm going to actually tap Carmen into this part of the conversation, is on all of their divisions having across the board the same training as it relates to the community that we serve. And Carmen, do you want to take it over from there?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Betty. Just quickly, with DES as a whole, some of you will probably recall our town hall meetings, our brief tour last year, and some of the conversations about barriers when working with different state agencies. DES was one of those organizations. Through Sherry's work with the director of DES at that time, there was some pretty good follow-up. And so we talked about accessibility that we provide in our building, and things have grown from there as we've been able to circle around with committees that Betty has been working on. And as a matter of fact, next week we will be, or week after next, on the 31st, we'll be providing a training to the Division of Business and Finance. So we'll have an opportunity to give them a brief overview of what their employees will receive in a training about accessibility for deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind folks. So it will go from the phone tree information that Betty's talked about all across the full spectrum. And we're hopeful that that will lead to some policy discussions that Betty would lead in regards to internal policies and procedures that assist DES staff in knowing what to do when they encounter deaf and hard of hearing individuals. And as far as the unemployment insurance, some outcomes after some of Betty's discussions with folks, our specialists have assisted quite a few deaf and hard of hearing individuals, and really more deaf, in trying to go through the process, trying to help them recognize that it does require a lot of patience, and offering them hopefully some strategies to help them stay the course until they can get answers about their particular cases.
This is Commissioner Reichman. Thank you.
That concludes my executive director's report, if none.
Okay, this is PV. I'm going to go ahead and jump down to the next agenda item.
I would like to ask Curtis Humphreys, our business manager, to talk about the budget submission. So Curtis, if you could take over, please.
Good evening. Trust that everyone's all safe and well. This year has been a challenge as we prepare for fiscal year 22 budget. With COVID-19, there's a lot of additional processes that have to go into place. So tonight I will be asking the board to approve the budget numbers that we're presenting for fiscal year 22. And I also will share with you what we're doing with the COVID-related expenses. The submission this year for fiscal year 22, we're going to be submitting a budget request for $4,685,900. Again, at $4,685,900. That is exactly the same amount that we were appropriated for last year. In discussing with OSPB, it was recommended that we at least approach that number due to the COVID-related expenses as well. So that looks like a good number we can operate on, even though a lot of areas we did not spend money in because we wasn't doing any traveling. And a lot of areas we saved money in, but at the same time, there were additional expenses that we incurred as well. The COVID-related expenses of year to date was $70,646,000 that we had put out for COVID-related expenses. We also had employee-related expenses tied to that as well. On our ETE, we have to report any time that we spent working on COVID-related situations or issues. So tracking that number, we came out to about personal services, $145,000, ERE about $36,500 in COVID-related expenses. All of those COVID-related expenses have been submitted for a grant through FEMA. So we are seeking reimbursement for that. So what we've been asked to do is submit that into Buddies. You're familiar with Buddies? That is our budget system. We will submit that into Buddies as a funding issue. Some of you refer to it as decision packages. We will submit that amount in the funding issue for fiscal year 22 as a $0 amount, since we will be getting reimbursed for it. So we're not asking for money for it because we expect to get it in return from the grant. In addition to that, we filled out in addition to AZIP, which is our reporting numbers, as well as CLIP. CLIP is the system that we fill out for any federal money. We have not submitted a CLIP request in my 10 years here, and I understand from 5 years prior to that, so at least 15 years since this agency had used the CLIP system. So like I said, a lot of additional work has gone into this budget preparation, and we are prepared to have the budget submitted on time for a September 1st delivery. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Curtis. Any board members have any questions or any discussion? Seeing none, I am open to a motion.
Motion that the budget be approved. As is.
We have a motion. And I see Hutch and Cienko have both seconded that. All in favor, please say aye, but we would actually like to do a roll call because it is budget related.
Commissioner Jantz, would you like me to call names and get the roll call going that way?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
of course. Okay. Commissioner Benton.
Aye.
Commissioner Brimhall. Okay, we'll move on for a moment. Commissioner Calderon.
Aye.
Commissioner Collinsworth.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hutch.
Yes.
Commissioner Neifel.
Yes.
Commissioner Reichman.
Yes.
Commissioner Cienko.
Yes.
Commissioner Vanover.
Yes.
Commissioner Webster.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
And we'll go back real quickly. Commissioner Brimhall.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the roll call for the vote.
Motion passes on the budget. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you doing the roll call. Moving on to agenda item number 6, and I will turn that over to the Interpreter Licensure Committee. Commissioner Benton.
Thank you, Commissioner Jantz. Hello, everyone. I would like to share the work of not the Interpreter Licensure Committee, but the work of the office staff. Since our last meeting, they have received and processed 81 license applications. That's a tremendous number. And for those of you who may not be aware, I'm sure there was an increase also at the beginning of COVID because so many interpreters were not doing in-person interpreting work. And so they were all flocking to VRI type settings, which then means that they're working across state lines So then they would need to have licenses in other states. So the office staff just rose to the occasion, and I mean, we process them, we review them, but the work is really their burden to do, and they do a fantastic job. So we processed 81 applications, as I said, and approved 81 applications. So I would just like to thank everybody for all of the work that they do. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
I see Commissioner Williams.
I just have a general question that I've wondered about. We didn't get any complaints, and I guess you would assume that things are going pretty well. Is that a fair assumption? I just felt like asking.
I can try to field this one, but then I can punt it over to Emmett as well. I don't think that that's a fair assumption. I think that there's just a tremendous reduction in face-to-face interpreting. And so most of our, I would say, as far as I've been exposed to, all of the complaints have come from face-to-face interpreting, not video remote interpreting. And so because there's very, very little face-to-face interpreting happening now, we get a little reprieve from the complaints.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions for the Interpreter Licensure Committee, I would like to say thank you to Commissioner Benton. I appreciate that. And I will now turn the time, well, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, the annual evaluation. And I will turn it over to Curtis for discussion on that. And we're not going to be going into a lot of detail. I feel like we probably don't need to on this one. Curtis, just if you could give us a general idea, and then we can move on to agenda item number 8. Curtis?
Thank you. The Personnel Committee met on Monday to discuss the survey results from the Executive Director Collins' annual review. Before I get into that, I want to thank all of you and commend you on your participation. We had 12 members participating, and I believe that was our full membership at the time it was submitted. And so I thank all of you for your input and getting your survey in on time. Appreciate that very much. The Personnel Committee went over the evaluation. As always, Executive Collins had a very stellar review. Everyone commend her work as she continues to provide the output and the relationship to the commission that everyone expects and beyond, as well as her desire and passion to provide to the community that we serve in addressing the concerns. There was one concern regarding the locations of outreach. Executive Collins already had a plan in place to go to Yuma and start that outreach. As you know, the ACDHH team was in full gear, ready to go to Yuma, not only for a board meeting, but for a full-blown outreach effort. And then COVID came, so it got kind of sidetracked. But overall, the executive director is aware of where the needs are and is proactive with the team to take action to make sure we're addressing the community. And I think a good example was the need for the clear mask. When COVID hit, who knew what challenges we would be facing with people wearing face masks? I can personally say it was frightening for me going to the grocery store for the first time, and I don't know, understand a word nobody's saying. So clear mask was a lifesaver and game changer for a lot of people. And again, Executive Collins realized that the team geared up. The whole team got everything it needed to get them ordered, get them out to the community as quickly as possible. So there was no surprises there with the Executive Collins review, and the committee wholeheartedly felt that they wanted to give her and compensate her for her role and continuous role. But I did inform them that at this time there is a freeze on any salary adjustments or any indications of that. The committee is aware of the previous request, and they did want to go on record, and we put a memo to file to review it again, her evaluation, when the freeze is lifted. So the board will have an opportunity to take another look at an opportunity if such presents itself. PV, you have anything else to add?
Nope, that was beautiful. I appreciate your summary. Thank you so much. For the board, this is an action item. If anyone has any discussion, or if you would like to, after reviewing the letter, if you have a motion, I am willing to entertain a motion. Any discussion?
Seeing and hearing none, do we have a motion? This is Commissioner Cienko. I move that we approve as is.
I second.
Commissioner Reichman, second. Okay, so all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposition? Seeing none, the motion passes. I appreciate your support for Sherry Collins and for ACDHH. You guys have been excellent with Sherry's leadership and her vision. It really does make an impact on the community, and I know that there is always room for improvement, but the board definitely agrees that Sherry Collins and the ACDHH staff is definitely moving in the right direction. There's definitely been a lot of work with the pandemic, and everything that you're doing is wonderful. And thank you so much for your work, Sherry Collins.
I have one comment. This is Commissioner Hutch. I don't know if you knew one of the founders for the Clear Masks is a daughter of 2 audiologists from Phoenix. And so it's kind of a double wonderful and using those because she's also one of our own. So thank you for doing that.
Very cool. That is actually really cool. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe you can talk a little bit with Sherry after the meeting, a little bit more in depth on the specifics with that. Okay, all right, thank you. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 9, which would be any future agenda items. And I believe that the next board meeting is going to be in November, correct?
Yes, November. Let me double check, hold on.
21st, I want to say.
19th.
19th.
19th. And I anticipate will be a lot of discussion on legislation, and especially after election, and where we are with COVID and what January will look like. So everything is up in the air at this point, but so that will be on the agenda. And also I anticipate we'll have additional budget update if there will be an impact from this current COVID-19 situation. So that might be on the agenda. We're, we'll be in the debt. Will the state have a sweep or furlough on all that? We don't know, but so I anticipate we'll have a lot more. Those topics may be on the agenda. Just want to let you know ahead. One more
Okay,
thing.
great. Thank you, Sherry. Oh, okay, go ahead.
For procedural election usually happen, but it's not required. It usually happen in November, but the board can, put it off like 2K. She kept saying on. So PV, just I want the board to know that, we'll go ahead and put it on the agenda for November, but it's up to the board to tabled it until later because of the COVID-19. So just to let you know that also will be added on the agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sherry Collins. You stole my thunder, actually, but I'm okay with that. I wanted to talk about the board elections for November as well. I think it is worth the discussion because of the potential situation with me being at term. So I would like to be able to talk about this before the next board meeting so that we can discuss it at that time. Are there any other topics or points of discussion that you would like to put on the agenda for the next board meeting? If something does happen to come up, please let me know, or you can send it over to the Vice Chair, Katie, and Executive Director Sherry Collins. And the community, you can reach out to me if you have anything that comes up as well that you would like for the boards to address in the next board meeting on November 19th. So I think that is pretty much it. If anybody would like to wrap up the meeting, I'm willing to accept a motion to adjourn.
This is Commissioner Cienko. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay. We have Commissioner Cienko with a motion to adjourn the meeting and a second from Commissioner Webster. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much. Be safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in November. That's it. We are adjourned at 5:13 p.m.
Good night, everyone.
It's 5:20.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.